One story continues to captivate CNN's iReporters: the terrorist attacks in France and how Europe and the world should respond. The apologetic response a Muslim woman submitted to iReport.com has set off a wave of reaction on our site. She'll join us in just a moment. Plus, we'll look at technology that's virtually a reality. I'm Samuel Burke at CNN's New York studios, and iReport starts right now. The terror attacks on satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo and a Jewish supermarket in Paris have reverberated all across Europe and around the world. In the wake of those attacks, we asked Muslims to share their reactions on the iReport website. People of the Muslim faith from all across the globe weighed in with a wide variety of opinions, and one of the most provocative came from iReporter Zunaira Mazhar, who was born in Pakistan but lives in Virginia here in the United States. Her apology has raised many eyebrows.
I am really sorry to the whole world as a Muslim that we have some ignorant people who have taken some very ignorant actions in the name of faith.
Since Zunaira posted that video on our site, it's been viewed thousands of times by thousands of people, and while some say she's courageous, she says she's also had her life threatened. Zunaira spoke to this program, and I started by asking her how she felt about the response to her iReport.
Of course, there are always people who do not like what you have to say. I do want to say the response that touched my heart the most was out of France. There were so many people who said that, thank you so much for this message. It really helps us understand that it's not every Muslim thinks like this, especially, at a time when emotions are already running so high. I think it was nice to have a voice that said that, this does not represent the religion or even the people who follow that faith. The negative backlash was a lot too. It came from a lot came from extremist Muslims who said, why are you apologizing, or who are you, or you're not a proper Muslim.
But I do want to ask you that question because it's not just extremist Muslims who say this sometimes. Sometimes very mainstream Muslims say, why should we as Muslims have to apologize for a minority in our religious group who carry out these type of attacks, as it was in Paris? Why did you feel the need as a Muslim to apologize for really a group of people that you probably have very little to do with, except for the fact that you happen to share a religion?
Sure. So I think the greatest thing that we can do as a community is show some humility and be humble about things. People who say that, I didn't do this, then why should I apologize? And there were many non-Muslims too who came back and said, well, we are not apologizing for crusades or this and that. I completely agree with that. However, personally, I do feel that we have a moral and ethical responsibility when something like this happens to come out and say, no, I do not support this. I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and I feel your pain.
Beside what you posted on iReport, this video that caused so much response, what else do you think that Muslims can do, people in the mainstream, to try and make sure that this doesn't happen? Do you think it is just posting alternative narratives out there? Do you think there's something more that the Muslim community can do?
Absolutely. I think there is so much that we can do. We have to look inwards, and we have to look at long-term objectives of things. I think number one thing that we need to do is really look at who is translating our holy book. It's a book that's in Arabic. It's always getting translated, and we have to make sure that people are not translating it for their own personal agenda.
Do you regret posting that video on iReport?
Absolutely not. I have been asking people if there are any avenues where we can speak up, and I'm so happy that I'm part of the iReport team and that CNN has given me the opportunity to come on and speak up and say that we are going to raise our voices against this kind of violence.
Many thanks to Zunaira Mazhar for coming on our show to share that unique perspective. Now, one of the most popular stories on our site continues to be a gallery of artistic tributes from cartoonists paying their respects from all across the world. Let's share just a few of these moving images from the iReport assignment we dubbed Calling All Cartoonists. This piece is a play off the historic 1945 photograph raising the flag on Iwo Jima. Only in this depiction, you see a group of cartoonists raising a pencil atop a base that reads "Freedom of Speech." Philadelphia-based cartoonist Tom Stiglich posted his original piece to iReport and says it's meant to convey American cartoonist support for their French colleagues. The next drawing submitted to iReport is entitled "All for One," a play off the Three Musketeers, but holding pencils instead of swords, and of course the words "Je suis Charlie" on the left. Illustrator Sebastian Tanti-Burlo sent the image from Malta. He says the red watercolor mark that you see at the top right there represents cartoonist indignation. This next illustration comes via Twitter with the headline, "Break One, Thousands Will Rise," and a cartoon with the words "yesterday, today, tomorrow" as the power of the pen slips away. French illustrator Lucie Clerc, who's based in London, posted the image on the social network. Well, we're going to shift gears now to the tech part of our show. And if you're too lazy to even reach for your remote, you'll want to see a new armband that lets you change the channel with the simple wave of a hand. So don't reach for that remote, because that story is coming right up on iReport after this very, very short break. Welcome back to iReport. I'm Samuel Burke at CNN's New York studios. This is the part of the program where we look at the hottest gadgets in the tech world. And all the big companies are in a tight race to dominate the virtual reality space. I've been very skeptical about all of it until I tried Facebook's Oculus Rift headset and spoke to the CEO of the company at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. A lot of people say that virtual reality can be a sickening experience, that it makes them queasy. Do you ever experience that? What are you guys doing to try and mitigate that?
So I actually do experience some discomfort, and it's
with your own headset?
With my own headset, yeah. It's been known that I'm one of the most sensitive in the company, kind of a blessing in disguise. And it's really our kind of vision to get this to a point where it's absolutely very comfortable for the mass market. It's consumer ready. What's changed for Oculus since Facebook became your parent company? I'm sure lots of things are the same, but what's different? So when we partnered with Facebook, the goal of that was to really supercharge Oculus as a company. We needed additional backing, and Facebook was that perfect marriage of a company that had this great infrastructure and a desire to get into the platform business, and we had the kind of platform potential. So we came together, and it's been great. How many times a day does Mark Zuckerberg pick up the phone and give you a call? Yeah, we're in touch, pretty often. He's really enthusiastic about this project. It's kind of hard not to be. I mean, it's a super exciting, cool, innovative technology. So he's very involved in terms of asking, for updates and what can he do to help or what can Facebook do to help. You're going to see it inside of the glasses. So inside of the goggles, there's two lenses. You're going to be looking in here with this on, and you're going to see a whole new world, and this world's going to be gone. Oh, whoa, where am I now? Now it looks like I'm in some type of futuristic assembly line factory, and there are robots going around everywhere. It's weird because it's not augmented reality. I'm not affecting anything that's going on here, but it gives you the sensation, sorry, this robot attacked me. It gives you the sensation of wanting to participate, even though you can't. And there's sparks, oops. Sorry. And there's a big dinosaur coming my way. There's a dinosaur roaring at me. And there's smoke going right next to me. It just feels like you can touch it. Well, it's way more than I expected. I kind of thought it was going to feel all immersive, but it was much more so than I could have hoped for. It's interesting because the audio is affecting you just as much as the video. I would say it's 50-50. The sounds of things sweeping by in front of you, going from the right side to the left side, really make you feel like you're there. I really was blown away by that technology. Now, if slipping on a virtual reality headset sounds like too much work for you, then just slip on an armband called Mayo. This futuristic looking device lets you turn on lights and turn them off, move a toy car, and play games, all with the simple move of your hand.
Go like this.
Okay.
And swipe to the side there, and then tap your thumb and your middle finger together. Spread fingers.
And make a fist.
Perfect.
Worked. I'm trying out Mayo today, this band that you put around your arm and it reads your gestures and it actually lets you control the devices around you. With Mayo, I've been able to turn the volume of a television set up and down.
There you go. Volume's going up. Awesome.
To rewind and fast forward a video. I've been using Mayo out with a toy car, actually moving your arm to move this little car left, right, and make it spin. And with video games, here we go. And this I could see being really popular and taking off with gamers. Whoa! How does this work?
There's two types of sensors. The first one tracks the motion and position of your arm, and that's similar to the sensors that you'd find in basically any smartphone today. And then the second and more important type of sensor for us is the muscle sensor. So that's these 8 pods. Each of those is reading the electrical activity that occurs when you do something like make a fist or spread your fingers. And that's from your brain actually sending that electrical signal down to your arm, and the Mayo picks those up.
Long term, what are your hopes and dreams for Mayo? What might it be able to do in the future with time?
Interacting with things like the Internet of Things or wearables or other things like virtual reality, augmented reality, and all these new kinds of non-traditional devices where input solutions like mouse and keyboard or even voice and touch don't necessarily work that well.
I can see how this technology will take off one day, but I don't think we're quite there yet. It didn't detect every movement and there were some glitches along the way. Only with time and people using it will we be able to know if the motion is this or this. So when it worked really well, but it just wouldn't work all the time. So once they get to that point that it's fully ready to go and really hit a mass market, I can see this is gonna take over our lives, I think. But that's it for this edition of iReport. If you see news happening where you are, just head over to iReport.com and submit your photos and videos there, and then maybe we'll see you on the next edition of our show. I'm Samuel Burke at CNN New York. Thanks so much for joining in.